be joining us in just a minute, and we'll get rocking and rolling on what we're talking about today, which should be.
Hello, everybody. We are about to go live on the Agent Lead Source podcast. I'm going to check in here with my good friend, Joseph Gonzalez. Here we go.
And there's Jaime coming in now.
All right, so welcome,
again, as you're
everybody.
coming in, let us know where you're tuning in from. We always like to be able to see where our folks are joining in from.
Here we go.
Jaime, there you are. Can you hear me okay?
Can you hear me okay?
Check, check, sound check.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, give me 1 second. Let me make sure my headphones are connected properly because it seems like they kicked off.
Okay.
As they would. It wouldn't be 2021 if they weren't there weren't a couple of bugs to start off the year. Check, check,
camera's
sound
not
check.
working over here.
My headphones aren't working. Welcome to 2021, people. I'm gonna take off my headphones, Jaime. I'm just going to listen to you. Actually, I have to have the headphones on. So let's see if we can make this work. Otherwise, we have reverb in our other mic. Sound check, sound check.
I can hear you okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but mine's not coming through my headphones, and
Uh-oh.
we want to make sure that that's working properly. So give me just a moment.
It's weird because you're having that issue and I'm having the issue of the camera is not.
all 30 of you who are watching right now, make sure you comment. You get to watch us live try to fix some of these issues. By the way, I just want to make sure that everybody's clear. We try to fix these issues before we even get on these calls. So
they were working. I mean, we were watching our own camera stuff. I mean,
all right.
Is this for real?
Okay, so what may have to happen is, Jaime, we're probably going to just have to go live, and I think that the issue is if we're hearing it from both ends here. It's not like I didn't just get brand new headphones the other day. Check, check, sound check. I promise, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to come to you and tell you how to get free leads as soon as we get this figured out.
Yeah, don't go away. It's worth it. All right, so I called an audible on my end, Joseph, so you can call me the tech guy.
How we're going now.
Yeah, that's a bad angle. All right, but it's the best I got.
Say again?
I had to move or change the camera because I don't know why I decided to be silly. So this isn't the best camera angle, but at least you can see it. So we can do that. That'll be cool. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, so I think I'm gonna have to wing it on the no headphones. That's okay. I think we should be fine with the audio coming in. You should have audio on your end. I'm not gonna mess with the Bluetooth headphones anymore. I have no idea what's going on with them. They're brand new. So anyway, we'll kick it off. Let's go ahead and get the call going, and we'll figure the audio stuff out a little bit later because the ladies and gentlemen are here to get free leads and closings, and we want to be able to help them do that fast.
All right, so let's kick it off. All right, well, welcome to the Agent Lead Source Podcast, episode 24. As you can see, 2021 is started phenomenally for everybody involved. We're really excited about being here. We took a 2-week hiatus due to Christmas and due to New Year's, but we are back with the vengeance, and we're going to be covering how to get some free real estate leads. Joseph, how's your New Year going?
You know, New Year's going pretty well. Some of the strategies we're going to talk about, I'm going to show people how we were able to get new clients within, what's today? Today's the 7th back home, 8th here in Singapore, how we were able to get new clients starting off the new year, 3 new clients in 8 days, right? So we're going to show you how we were able to do that. and you're going to be able to implement that in your business to be able to get new real estate leads. It's a pretty sweet little thing. Anyway, Jaime, very
Man.
excited about the new year.
I dig it. I dig it. So as I mess around with this camera a little bit more, we're just going to dig right into it. Hopefully you can hear me okay. One of the first strategies that we're going to really dive into today is reviving our database. Our database, as we know, whether you think it's a small database or a large database, you still have a database. So this means that these are people that at some point ran across you. Some of them may know you a little bit more because you went to high school with them. They're your family. You went to college with them. They used to be your coworkers. Whatever have you, you have a database. You have a sphere. And this may be the year that they're making the move, to either purchase a home, go up or down in size of their home, or selling the one that they have. But regardless, I can guarantee you that if they are personally not looking to do that, they know somebody. Yeah. So Joseph, let's talk a little bit about that database. And also we were talking about some texting strategies that are being implemented today. And you mentioned some of the success stories already. What can we share?
Yeah, so let's go ahead and jump in. So if you're watching the call now, I would highly suggest, one, that you comment so you can allow other people to see it. Two, you stay on to the end, because I always give a little bit of extra tip for you to get some more closings faster. But let's go ahead and jump into the tech strategy that Jaime is talking about. So number one, those of you who follow me, and I've given this content out right before the new year and right after the new year to over 100 agents. And I was telling Jaime this on the call, only 3 of them have implemented it. And guess what? The 3 that have buyers and sellers that are ready to go, right? So what we're going to talk about right now is what text message to send to your database, right? So Jaime, do we want to focus on buyers first or sellers first?
I think so. Our audience right now, I think we absolutely do want to do sellers, but let's start off with some buyers, because I think most people, that's where the agents are right now, especially the audience in front of us.
All right, so let's talk about getting buyers. So a lot of you have probably paid for leads in the past. A lot of you probably have friends that are in your database. A lot of you have friends that are on Facebook. So the script that my agents that are different masterminds actually are utilizing, it's pretty simple. So you're going to send a text message, and some people will post this on their Facebook page, and then the people who are getting the best results are actually, and I just got off a mastermind call about this, people who are getting the best results are the people who are actually sending this as a text message. The text message is very simple. It's going to be something you can change it to how you want it to be, but it's something to the effect of, hey, I'm starting to focus on 10 people for 2021 to help them buy a house. Send me a message back if you want to be one of the 10 people, right? So it's like your VIP list, and you're only putting your focus on those people for the first quarter of 2021 or through 2021, however you want to state it. And so what naturally happens is, if you have good friends, if you have a database of past buyers or a database of buyers that have been inactive, this is going to activate the ones who are really interested and hopefully activate the ones who are ready to move forward. And so a lot of people are always asking, how do I reactivate the people that I already have? This is a very simple strategy. And by the way, if this makes sense, make sure you comment and let us know. And if you like the strategy, but it's very low barrier to entry. And what I mean is, you're not super salesy. You're not trying to sell them a particular house. You're like, hey, I'm going to focus on you and help you accomplish what you want to accomplish. And by doing that, using that word help and focus, people are naturally going to want to work with you. And so that's what we're using right now to reactivate past buyers, to get them excited about buying a house in 2021. And if you use that, I guarantee you will have a contract in the next 15 to 30 days. I guarantee it. You just have to make sure you have a database of friends, which we all should, past buyers and quote unquote dead leads to send that to, and get ready, because your phone's going to blow up.
I dig it. Joseph, so for those listening on the podcast in the future, once we're recording this and upload it, can you repeat a little bit of the verbiage that you're wanting them to share? Just a quick repeat, and then we'll go into it.
Yeah, so again, the verbiage is very simple. It's, hey, whatever name, or hey, I'm working on my top 10 list of people to focus on in 2021 to help them buy a house. If you want to be a part of that list, send me a message and let me know, and I'll add you to my list, and we'll start we'll set up a call to create a VIP buyer's plan for you specifically, right? So you want them to feel like they're VIPs, which they are, in your database. And get ready. They're gonna send you a text message back.
I dig it. So I'm going to introduce these two things, Joseph, at the risk of creating friction. The strategy that you already deployed is obviously working right now because I've seen it real time. So that's one. But at the risk of introducing a little bit of friction into it, we want to maximize what you're already doing, which is already there. But one thing that I want to encourage the agents that are a little bit hesitant with their social media for whatever reason, we all know those agents that are secret agents, if you will. So we from the profession, we know that there's a lot of secret agents right now. So what I want to encourage us is to get outside of ourselves and put yourself in, just update your social media profiles. That's one. Update yourself to where people actually know that you're a real estate agent. And I see this time and time again. And it's not because I'm a coach or I'm a guru or I'm an X, Y, and Z, whatever label you want to peg us. I see this every single day simply for the fact that I manage a Facebook group exclusively for real estate agents. And it should not take me more than 12 seconds whenever you request to join the Facebook group that is private, that does require me to say yes or no. Shouldn't take me more than 2 milliseconds for me to know that you're a real estate agent. So oftentimes, Joseph, I have to click through to that profile and then scroll down. Are there any pictures of homes? Are there any pictures of anything? Because I don't know if this person is a real estate agent or somebody that came off the street or a digital marketer. So it shouldn't work that way. So I want to invite people to make this a great year by sharing with people that they're a real estate agent, and also a great opportunity to go out on a limb and invite those people that you clearly know, but you haven't invited them to be friends. So looking at maximizing what you're doing, those are two things that I want to offer up real quick. Again, at the risk of causing a little bit of friction, because yours is action, action, action. I just wanted to throw it out there.
Yeah, I think yours leads to branding, right? Like, so whenever you're looking at who you are as you run your company. Now, I have to caution the way I say it, because I like to do, like, here's a tip based on what Jaime is stating. If you change your, what's the background picture called? I don't even remember what that's called anymore, Jaime. The cover photo?
The banner? Yeah, cover. Yeah.
The cover photo. So if you change your cover photo like once a month, people see it, and so more people will interact with your profile. That's a little secret tip for everybody, even if you run a Facebook group. It helps a lot. So Jaime's right. People need to be able to identify that you are a real estate agent. And if you can do things, well, let me say this. If you need to change your profile, your cover photo, go to Canva. It's free. Canva.com, Canva.com, and then type in Facebook cover, and it'll actually give you the dimensions, and then you just drop your photo that you want in there, and you can design it however you want. And you can even put things like, you can add new words like join my VIP home buyers list, join my VIP home sellers list, right? And then that way people can see that you are in fact a real estate agent, and you can put your branding and everything else on there. But Jaime's right. People need to be able to identify that you are truly a real estate agent, or they might think that you're trying to scam them, right? So it's pretty simple strategy, but I like it.
It's one or the other. One or the other. So I love that strategy. And one thing I really want to harp back on, especially since we're at a new year, you know, everyone has those goals. We know that the gyms are super full. I'm one of those people. I'm going to go to the gym, but you know, in February, you're not going to catch me there. However, it's a new year, new opportunity. One thing that that really stood out to me whenever we were talking right before we came on, was the amount of folks that didn't take action. And I don't want to, you know, just be the person that just beats people down. But at the end of the day, the strategies, whether you're tuning in today, which super thankful if you're here joining us live. So we do this on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Central. If you're on the podcast and want to engage and be part of the community, we welcome you. We'd love to have you. But if you're here listening to us and giving us some watch time and ear time and are not implementing, you're wasting your time. That's basically it. And that's, you know, that sounds like a shot across the bow, because in a way it is. We'd love to have you here. We'd love the engagement. But at the end of the day, it's about helping you. So if you're not going to take the action, then it's it's just that missing link. So take that as motivation. Don't take that in an offensive way. And we certainly love you being here. But more than that, we want to get some success stories back, because that just means that it's working. We know that it's working. We just need some sort of action from the other side.
Yeah, I think that's fair, Jaime. So in 2021, those of you who are watching this, what Jaime is essentially saying is we want you to make a commitment to yourself, right? And that commitment needs to be to take action, not to be a learning warrior, if you will, right? You've got the armchair quarterbacks and all these different statements. A lot of you who maybe some of you who are watching this are learning warriors. You just gather information and gather information and gather information, and you never take action because you're scared either of failure or you're scared of success. But the reality is either one of those you have, and there's this whole meme thing that's going on, choose your hard, right? And success is hard, failure is hard. Choose success, right? It's going to be tough, but a lot of stuff we're talking about, yes, you have to put yourself out there, and yes, you have to do X, Y, Z. You are a salesperson. You are a relationship person. That's how you make your money. That's how you feed yourself and your family. So make a commitment in 2021 to take action. The stuff that I just told you, if you're waiting until next week to do it, you're falling behind, right?
Yeah.
Because that means you're missing out on transactions that could possibly happen within the month of January, kicking off the year with one transaction that you got for free, right? So who doesn't want an extra $5 or $6 or $10 or $20,000 that you got by sending out text messages? So what Jaime is essentially saying is make sure you take action. Don't just take this information, absorb it, and not do anything with it, right?
I dig it. I dig it. And something beyond that, because I find myself doing this quite a bit. So I'm sure that there's quite a few folks out there. Is the strategy going to work? 1000%, because it's out there working. Is it going to work the first time? Maybe not. Maybe it's the way that you post. Maybe people are not used to you posting on Facebook. Well, Facebook's out there rewarding the algorithms that are out there posting something. You may be out there, promoting love or hate, whatever happens to be, you're still getting engagement. You're going to get the attention of Facebook's algorithm. So starting out, if you've never posted in your life and you get, basically maybe one like, and that's from your mom, that is okay, right? You can always delete that if you want. I don't suggest that you do, but if you want, you can. But you can come back. You can come back again later. You can redo it. I fall guilty to it as well. We're in the same groups on Facebook. Joseph, you've been kicked out of some. I've been kicked out of some. It's the rite of passage. But there's some posts that just don't land. Either I didn't communicate effectively. I wasn't clear with what I was asking. And, some of them will go out and get 4,000 comments, and some of them will go out there and get 4 likes. 2 of them are from me. 1 of them is from you. So thank you, Joseph. And then one's from a VA. So anyway, just throwing that out there. It's okay to fall flat on your face. That's totally okay. Because guess what? You may think that that's a little bit embarrassing because nobody commented when you said, hey, drop that down below or DM me. So what?
Yeah. It's going to happen. Right. You're going to have moments where people just won't respond. But Jaime, you're right. You got to keep trying and you got to keep building, because the more you build, the more comments you're going to receive. Right. And again, Jaime has been doing this for a long time. I've been doing this for a long time. I have posts that flop, like completely flop, but that doesn't stop me. Right. That doesn't stop me for getting 3 new clients that I've already gotten for the year. Right. And I guarantee we're going to have 7 more because I know it based on what we've already done. But today I could post something and it gets 0 comments and 0 likes for whatever reason. But tomorrow, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to post again, right? And so you just have to learn to get through those cycles. And as you do, and you're able to say, you know what, that happens. That's part of business. That's part of doing business on Facebook. And maybe I'm not the person who gets 1,000 comments and 1,000 likes, but all I need to do is just keep chipping away, because 10 comments a week starts building, right? That's 520 comments and 520 people that you get to interact with throughout the year. So think about that. So every day that you're posting and you're getting comments, you're interacting with people, you start adding that up throughout the entire year. I guarantee we're probably over 100,000 people we've communicated with, or at least conversations that we've had, right, through 2020.
Yeah.
And Jaime knows our numbers. We've been very fruitful this past year, but that's all the process is. And it's for real estate. It's the same thing. How many conversations, how many people can I help? And how does that build throughout the year, throughout 2021? But don't stop, fail fast, right? Fail fast.
100%. And I mean, no telling how many times you had to weed out the stuff that didn't work. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
To get to where you're at right now, and what this effective strategy. So it goes back to the earlier point, and then we'll move on to the seller part. But it took a lot of time for you to get here, a lot of time of an effort to get to the crafting the message the way that you have. Took a lot of split testing, took a lot of different angles, but now you have something that's working. So when somebody is handing you a loaf of bread, just eat it. So you don't need to go out there and try to figure out how to make it. Just eat it. There's going to be more. That's probably not the best analogy. So let's go to the seller side.
I like it. All right. So we're going to go to the seller side, right?
Let's do it.
Okay. So on the seller side of things, as you look at the seller side, it's very similar to the buyer side, right? And I think the problem is a lot of people try to put their entire database in one bucket, especially new agents, right? And so on the seller side, you're going to send a very similar text message. You can use your Facebook profile. Again, don't be a scaredy cat to do this. And actually one of the agents messaged me and was like, well, I think my friends are smart enough to know that I'm looking to get people interested in selling their house. I'm like, that's the whole point of the post. What are you talking about? Yes. But what you're going to do is you're going to post, how many of my friends own a home, right? And so you let your friends comment, and trust me, your friends are not that smart on the internet. They're not. I don't care if all your friends are doctors or scientists. All my friends are not that smart. Even if they're watching this later, they know that. Like the internet, if you're really smart, you know how to get people to interact. It's called law of attraction, right? And so it's not whether they're smart or dumb or whatever. It's all about understanding the law of attraction. So the law of attraction post is, how many of my friends own a home, right? Or how many of my friends are homeowners? You let them all comment, and then you send the same message to them. You thank them for commenting so that your engagement continues to increase. And then you send them a direct message like, hey, James, thanks so much for commenting. Hey, I'm building my list of people who are maybe interested in selling their home in 2021, and it's going to be my VIP list. I'm going to focus on those people. Let me know if you want on the list. That's how simple it is. And then you let them say yes or no, or I'm not thinking about selling. Great. Hey, at least can I update your information in my database, right? And then I'll send you a monthly CMA of your house, right? And so the idea is that you're just, I said this on my call this morning with our mastermind group. It's everything you're doing is a funnel, right?
Yeah.
And so you're just building your funnel throughout 2021. And maybe your friends aren't ready to sell. Maybe they don't sell this year, but maybe they sell next year. But you're the one sending them CMAs. You're the one sending them updated market analysis. You're the one sending neighborhood updates, right? And as long as you're that person, that authority figure in their life, they're going to be the ones. You're going to be the one they pick most of the time, unless you're just whatever. But but if you're doing your job and you're doing a good job, most of the time they're going to select you. Did that make, for those of you who are watching, make sure you comment and let me know if that made sense or not. Or if you have
let's see some likes. If this is making sense, like is going to go a long way. It's going to feed the algorithm. Both we're on YouTube and on Facebook. It's going to really help us out. And also, if this is making sense, those likes go a long way. If it's not, the comment section is wide open. It's absolutely wide open. So Joseph, one thing that you brought up was an objection from an agent. It's like, well, my friends are too smart. Well, we know that. Let's just say that that's true. You already went there. Let's just say that that's true. Okay, that's the whole point. That's awesome, right? But I equate that to those people that, you go to the door, you were door knocked by the people that are selling fertilizer or lawn services, the solar panels, whatever. It's the same thing. And it's those same types of people that will listen to the sales pitch and know exactly what's being done. They're being sold and all that stuff. So I know what you're doing. I know you're trying to sell me. So the heck what? You still buy. So the heck what? You're still going to buy. Even if you have that friend, they are still buying. Now, the thing is that they're not going to publicly buy. They're going to send you a DM directly. They're not going to go out there. Oh, I'm too smart. I have a house that's too big or too small. It doesn't matter. They're not going to comment on Facebook. They may not comment on the post, but it could be pride. It could be whatever it happens to be that's keeping them from that, their ego. It doesn't matter. they're going to go to your
Yeah.
DMs because you got them thinking. And at the end of the day, they're still buying and selling. So they still have the same decision, whether those people that are what they're going to be called gullible to put on, to comment down there, they're still buying, they're still selling. Someone has to do it.
Yeah. And so send your smart friends a text message. If they're that smart, send them a text message. Then there's ways to overcome all these objections, right? That these agents have about not wanting to do X, Y, Z. They don't want to do it because they're scared to put themselves out there at the end of the day, right? And so here's an example. So Mary Cruz just literally just posted it and already have one person comment. It's not even been up for a minute.
Action taker.
Yeah, like, I think that's the difference between people who are successful and people who aren't. The people who take action, like Mary, she may get this person and they may want to list, or they may not, right? But at least she has them in the database. And if they do list, she just got a deal for free for posting a comment. And she says she now has 3 people who have responded. That's 3 possible listings in less than 2 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know Jaime, I don't know if we should even talk anymore. Like, these agents.
Thank you for listening to the Agent Lead Source podcast. This is a wrap. Keep going. I didn't mean to break your flow. You're right.
No,
please keep going.
No, I just think that, we do these calls, right? And we have these conversations, and, I create groups to be able to send everybody this content, right? And like I said earlier, and thank you, Mary, for posting it, and congratulations on your possible 3 listings you're going to have for sure in the future. But I create groups for people to be able to send them this information, and then they choose. I told Jaime this. I sent it to over 100 agents. 3 of them posted it, right? 3 of them posted what we just said, and they've gotten results. Mary just posted it. Within 2 minutes, she has 3 people interested. And so my point here is, again, make sure that you're committing to yourself to be successful, and make sure you're committing to yourself, putting yourself out there, because that's how you become successful in real estate. And all the agents in the past used to have to look through the phone book and call people. We're showing you how to get people to get in touch with you, right? And so that's the difference in 2021 and moving forward is you can still pick up the phone. I'm not saying it's not successful. I'm just saying there are new ways to do things to compound what you're already doing, right? If you think action.
About exactly. No, and think of what you just did there. Those 3, I mean, that's beautiful. So thank you so much, Mary, for just illustrating the point. But let's take it one step further. The traditional ways, because there was a comment here, and I want to make sure I get back to it because there was a huge compliment towards you, which I don't get any, but okay, whatever. You have the you like that pity party. You're invited, Joseph. You're invited.
You read earlier about your YouTube channel and how knowledgeable you are, because I don't know if you're looking at the Facebook. Trust me, you're getting lots of comments.
Thanks. So when it comes to let's take the old, because there was a comment in the comment section about modern versus the other way, right? So think about what you just did, what just happened right now. The traditional way, or a traditional way, I shouldn't say the, because there's many, but a traditional way was, hey, let's connect with somebody. All right, now I have to go to Starbucks. Okay, now I spent so much time going to Starbucks, and I spend so much money because I have to buy their drink, which is overpriced, and then I have to, all that stuff just to find out. Oh yeah, I don't even own a home, so I'm not. It's not even in my radar. I don't want to do that, but just with this, you immediately found out, and I mean, it's just so effective. Social media is so fantastic. The modern way, as people are calling it, is very scalable. Yeah. Going back to the point of taking action, that's the big part of it. Now, for those of us that are a little bit reserved with the comments that we make, we don't necessarily want to go out on a limb as much. Rephrase what Joseph is saying. Rephrase what he's saying. You can mask it under a different banner. So what does that mean? That means, hey, I'm looking for the best home insurance providers. Who do you recommend? Who are you using? Well, what are you just learning from that intel? Well, I use Allstate. Oh, okay. Well, do you own a home? Oh, yeah. It turns out. My mom uses Geico. Oh, really? That's interesting. Is she looking to sell? So there's a lot of different ways that you can ask the same things. And people are going to willingly give you that information. Yes, your smart friends are not going to comment, oh, I'm the homeowner, whatever. But your smart friends are going to tell you how smart they are because they have the best rate on the block for their home insurance.
Yeah. Dude, that's a bomb right there, Jaime. Like that's a very backdoor action that's something that I would think about that I haven't thought about yet, right? Like that is money, right? Because what you're doing is you're getting people to tell you they own a home without them telling you, all right, without you directly asking, do you own a home? Right? I love it. I mean, now you're spurring all these ideas out of my head. It's like, okay, how do we find out if somebody owns a home? Hey, hey, who has anybody had to deal with HVAC issues, right? In your house? Yes, no, whatever, right? Or has anybody had to deal with water heater issues, right? And so now you're not only that, you're finding out where their pain points are, because if they're having to deal with it now, it's like, why don't you just buy a new house, right? Why don't you sell your current house? Right? Who's lived in their house, and is your market who's lived in their house the longest, right? And then you allow people to comment how long they've lived in their house, right? So as Jaime stated, there are many ways to get people to tell you that they live in a house without you asking specifically, hey, how many of my friends own a home? If you don't feel confident with that particular question. Obviously it works because Mary just proved it, but I like Jaime, what Jaime is stating here, is because there are ways to go around the direct question. So kudos to you, Jaime, on that particular thing. I want to see somebody actually comment now and say they're going to use that strategy.
Let's see it.
Who do you have your home insurance through, and then let people comment and why do you like them, and then let people comment. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to find out which of your friends own homes, and then you can start sending them messages and add them to your database.
Absolutely.
Great job, Jaime. That's some gold nuggets, man. Right there.
That's my 2021 that I can retire now. But it's that. So we were talking about this before we came on again. It was, we have a good amount of talking. We want to cover as many topics as possible, but we don't even get to 20% of what we want to cover. And I'm okay with that. I hope that the audience is as well, because there's some, that's why we work well together. There's some things that you introduce, some things that I introduce, you enhance, I enhance. It's a good ebb and flow. At the end of the day, the people that are winning are the audience. So that would be a great time, if you're listening to this on the podcast, to drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. We are, Joseph, I need to send you the numbers, because we, I don't want to say viral, but we're getting close. So awesome. this is really helping out. And really what helps out a ton is the 5-star reviews as well, and the engagement. So if you haven't gone over there and checked us out from the podcast world, that would be a great time to do that. But also, if you're here on YouTube or on Facebook, absolutely love having you here. The likes, the comments, they go a long way. As we get ready for the next point, if you have any questions about what Joseph has introduced, what I've introduced as well, then please let us know in the comment section. I am going from I'm gonna read a few comments, if that's okay, Joseph. We have here from New Jersey. We have Texas is representing. Right down the street, we have your street, Singapore. We have Nick, so he's right down the street from you.
What's up,
and
Nick?
Then we have somebody here. I just got here late. Okay, well, catch up. So let's see what else we have. I cut you off. I think you were going to go on a further point on that, Joseph.
No. I felt like that, as we look at, continuing to grow this particular, this podcast, and as we're growing, I think we hit, what did you say, over 1,000 downloads last time you sent me a message, which was, very shocking and awesome.
This was in early December. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're continuing to grow really quick, and any 5-star review that you can give us, because I think the difference between what we talk about in a lot of the other podcasts, and not to knock them, right? Because I think they give great information, but they give like information to bring you into like, this is, come talk to me directly, versus we're like, this is what you do today if you want business today, right? And so it motivates us whenever you give us 5-star reviews on the podcast or wherever you're watching us, or listening to us, because it fuels the fire for us, because I don't want to say we're like the most successful people in the world, but we're already having success. And so by getting to help other people, that helps us really master that idea of giving back, right? And the model of helping other people. So make sure if you do watch it, just take a quick second to do that, because we're going to make you thousands of dollars. I already proved that out last year with a lot of the agents that watched this, right? So yeah, basically, thank you for watching and listening, and we'll continue dropping more bombs as we go through this particular podcast for 2021.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. You know what our ratios are, Joseph, of people that pay us versus that don't? And I have no way to prove this, so hopefully you take my word for it. That I would say 0.001% of the people that ever encounter us, whether that's through YouTube, Facebook, whatever, ever pay us anything.
Yeah.
Now, those individuals that we're not going to name anywhere, but those individuals that you were mentioning, and we know who that could be, if you will. And it's not just in the Facebook group; it's everywhere. The ones that make their money just off of you directly and not necessarily providing that much upfront, their ratios don't look that way. I would venture to guess that they're inverted, that they make 99% of you will pay for their quote unquote knowledge. And then 1%, maybe there's some free stuff. And it's an overly produced 3-hour webinar that teaches you how to use landing pages. I'm just saying, I don't know. Anyway, I could be wrong, Joseph. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before.
Well, here's the funny thing. Somebody commented earlier. I'm trying to find where the comment is. And essentially, oh, here he goes. It says, agree 100%. He seems to be in the loop as far as modern techniques. They're talking about you, Jaime.
No.
Many of these coaches are antiquated and no longer sell. Times have changed. This guy is very knowledgeable. So that was specifically about you, which leads to the point, by the way, congratulations on that comment, which leads to the point you're talking about. Like, a lot of these guys that are out there doing the coaching are coaching on antiquated ideas that have been repeated, I don't know how many times, right? And so we're trying to bring new ideas and new content that we know works, right? And so as we go through this, and I feel like we're just pitching people on, hey, this is the free stuff that we get, but it really is, right? You don't have to pay for some of this knowledge, right? But if you do need coaching, there are coaches out there. Just make sure that they're also not just doing the old stuff, but they're teaching you the new stuff, right? Because there's so much new stuff out there that can be implemented to grow your business. And again, I'm not saying the old stuff doesn't work, because it does, but you need to have a mixture of both, right? And grow your
100%.
business as fast as you can by having a mixture of both. So, okay, enough harping on the old school stuff. Okay.
Speaking of new school stuff, that you and I actually were talking about, I need to stop saying that, because we do talk. That's why we're late, folks. It's not because we're trying to figure out tech issues. It's because we're talking about
talk a lot.
So we're actually friends outside of this podcast, guys. So so there's a strategy that we were talking about right before we came on, and we added it very last second. Thought, why not? I mean, we are doing this actively for our respective businesses and with the agents that we're working with. So this one, just cutting straight to the point of the free real estate lead generation, is your blog. So BLOG. So your blog and your YouTube working together. So it's a little mixture. So making YouTube work for your blog and your blog working for your YouTube, because they work together. So how that looks is picking out a neighborhood in your community that you are marketing or farming. And when I say neighborhood, I literally mean your neighborhood. I don't mean Dallas. That's not your neighborhood. That's a city, and that has 2 million people within it. That's not your neighborhood, because you're not going to beat Zillow if you write a blog about that. You're not going to beat Trulia, Redfin, these billion-dollar companies. You're just not. However, you will beat them if you're talking about Crescent Springs in X, Y, and Z area, because they're not writing about that. So you are becoming very hyper local with your blog. You're writing out what it's actually like to live in that area or be part of that community. And you're also tagging on a YouTube video. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be information that people are going to find valuable. And as you become that authority in that space, people will reach out to you because you're informing them and providing them value. So blog and YouTube, it's a phenomenal formula to use right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. So as we look at that, I think what we were trying to say earlier, Jaime, as we were talking about this particular strategy, is making sure that you are not just doing one or the other, right? You can, to start off with, but they need to support each other, right? They need to prop one another up. And an example would be, like Jaime said, talking about a particular neighborhood, is doing a blog on why homes are selling so fast in a particular neighborhood, but then creating a video that is literally, your blog is just your script for the video at the end of the day, right? You might add some pictures and things like that, but you're just scripting out. And then now you've created two pieces of content off of one item that you're talking about, right? One subject that you're talking about. And you can even do one on maybe a house that you sold in the neighborhood, why it sold faster than somebody else's house, right? So all these things are propping one another up. And if you're able to do it, you don't have to be the fantastic writer either, right? You just write about why it sold faster, write about why homes are selling faster or slower in a particular neighborhood, or why a house didn't sell, right? You might upset an agent that was trying to sell a house, but now you can also take that and send it to a homeowner. Got to be very careful. A lot of the things that we're talking about right now, you got to be very careful on the legal side of things. But you can actually do a comparative analysis of that house versus another house that was similar and say why this one sold faster than the other, right? And then you can share that information. I'm going to stop talking about that because I don't want to have people skirting on the edge and live in the gray area that I like to live in.
No, I like it. I'm all about it. So I'm going to go further. No. So if you wanted to introduce a different level, and I'm just going to toss this out there because that's actually a strategy that is being implemented as we speak. It's not going to be for everyone. So just throwing that out there for those folks that are either already doing the blog and the YouTube together or are going to do that. If you're going to take it a little bit further, this isn't for everybody. Full disclosure, this is not for everybody unless you're willing to take it there. You can add in the podcast aspect. So what that means is you're creating the content, you're creating the blog post. As Joseph mentioned, it effectively becomes your script, right? And then you have the video aspect. And then you either rip out that audio and throw it on the podcast, which our overhead here, folks, is maybe $25 a month, maybe. That's just putting it on. And we've shared in this very podcast how to start a podcast. So you're going to want to check that podcast out. How many times can I say podcast? You're going to want to go and check that out. So if you want to take it to another level and invest about $25 tops to have your own podcast like we do, then you use that same content. Again, you either rip out the audio and you make your videos in such a way to where it makes sense in voice form, or you can just straight read whatever the blog is and then put that on the podcast, and then boom, you have that trifecta of the written, the visual, and then the audio from all angles. If you want to take it that step further, again, full disclaimer, that isn't for everybody. It's going to take those people that actually want to do it that way.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, you can even do so as you talk about the podcast versus the video. I'm trying to think of if you want to get listings, right? Let's talk about listings and getting listings fast, right? You just spurred this idea as you were talking about the process. You can take a CMA, a video CMA. So you're basically just walking the home seller through what their house would sell for and why it would sell for that much, possibly, right? It's a valuation. And then send it to them and say, by the way, we use something similar to sell your house on YouTube, right? And so then you actually take that same content that you sent over to the seller once you get the listing, and then you put it on YouTube and you're just talking about why the house is valued at that. And then you send it to people, or you put it on YouTube with the address and the city and the information. And then you send people there, right? And so what you're doing, this is very back channel, but what you're doing is you're creating a list of people. We talked about this in a previous call or previous podcast. it's a secret list of people that are now going to your YouTube channel to see this house. And then you can retarget these people using YouTube ads and other forms, right? And so now you've repurposed the content. One, you got a listing from it. Two, now you're going to get buyers from it, right? And so just an idea for those of you who are like, okay, how do I repurpose content? That's how you do it, right? Super simple. Create a CMA, send it to the possible person who wants to list with you, and say, by the way, I'm going to put this on YouTube and put it in front of thousands of people in our market, right? And you can't tell me that they won't be excited to hear that.
Boom. Boom. I mean, that's what, and you, as you were talking, it kind of, and this one I didn't even plan for. That's, it's the back and forth that we had going on, taking a different angle of what you just mentioned. If you're going to be in the content creation game, which I highly suggest that everybody here listening becomes, you don't have to start your podcast. You can do a blog, you could do a YouTube, you could do mega long posts on social media, whatever happens to be your angle. What you can do when you're in the when you're in the content world, well, you can make offers to your audience that are homeowners. Kind of goes back to our earlier point, Joseph, of identifying the homeowners. This is another back end way to do this, where you're highlighting a homeowner. So you just comment on Facebook, hey, I'm looking to feature a home in February. DM me if you want a video, blah, blah, blah. You don't have to sell. I mean, that's basically it ends with, you don't have to be selling. However, who doesn't want that yard of the month out there, even though, I mean, everyone has a different, landscaping priority. But when it comes to, hey, I'd like to feature your property, that's a little bit different. And what's also going to happen there is you get to form that relationship or enhance that relationship. That you're going to have another advocate, i.e. the homeowner, that's going to share your video, share your blog, share your content with their community. And boom, you have some other folks engaged.
Yeah, free marketing, right? It's all free marketing. You're utilizing their network to bolster your business, right? Yeah, there are so many little, just like small things that you could do to grow your listing side of your business that I think people just don't think enough outside the box to be able to think about these ideas, because you're so close to your business that you're only worried about your contracts all the time. You're only worried about where's my next deal coming from, and not realizing you can create more deals, right? You can create as many deals as you want.
1,000%.
Alina just commented, example of most effective content creation, YouTube video, and should we pick a strategy and only focus on that one channel? I think we've covered this. There's a whole podcast about it. So I don't know if we want to go into detail about that, Jaime, or not on this particular podcast.
Let's address it just and then go on to the let's address it. Let's go for it. We're not going to spend too much time in this world, but I think that it's important to us to cover. Should we pick one strategy and only focus on that on one channel? That's going to be your master channel. So that's going to be the channel that you absolutely master, whatever it happens to be. If you're a direct mail person, door knocker, cold caller, whatever, that's going to be the one that you master. But you do have some auxiliary items that tackle that. So as an example, the strategies, I'm focusing on 3 right now. One is YouTube. That's my primary. That's the same thing from 2020 for me. So I'm doubling down on YouTube. I'm focusing on Facebook groups. So that's 2. And there's a reason that we're here. And I guess it enhances on what we were doing with the Facebook groups. And then 3 is the blogging. So those are my 3. Yeah. Now for me, there's you just heard, and you heard that for us, we're ripping out the audio and converting this into a podcast. So for our time, it doesn't take that much more to go ahead and add the podcast to our game. And then from a YouTube channel, or from a YouTube perspective, we're creating a YouTube video right now. So there's a lot of different synergies. So focus on one and master that aspect. But if you can leverage the other elements to it, like with the blog, which this will go over to my blogger, like Joseph and I were talking about earlier, this is going to go over to my writer, and she's going to absolutely crush this topic. So everything is working together.
Yeah. Like you said, right, that keyword synergy, right? Making all those things work together. And Alina, I would say this, like, you need to master, as Jaime said earlier, you need to master something before you move on to the next thing, right? unless you know that you're really good at mastering multiple things at one time. I would say stay focused on creating one piece of content for multiple channels. Meaning, whenever we say channels, we're talking about, like I said, podcast and blogging. But I wouldn't go create 5 YouTube channels or 3 or whatever YouTube channels and then try to do all of those mediums, if you will, right? Blog, video, and then podcasts for all 6 of those, all 3 of those different channels. I would just focus on one and then take that content and repurpose it. That's going to get you a lot further than trying to create multiple YouTube channels and trying to focus on all these things. That's my personal opinion.
1,000%. Joseph, I want you to weigh in on this comment right here, because I've actually, as I was reading it, I'm kind of going back and forth. So I want to get your take on this.
Sure.
Byron over on YouTube is asking, I'm a new agent. 1 month in, I create a Facebook like page, so a traditional business page, inviting people to like it and sharing properties from our MLS. I guess maybe that wasn't a question, but it's more of a comment. I'm a new agent. 1 month in, I created a Facebook like page, inviting people to like it and sharing properties from our MLS. Broker is feeding a few leads to contact. I don't know what that last part is, but what I'm really struggling with is that first part of, is it an effective strategy today, knowing what you and I know now, to focus on a Facebook business page and trying to gain an audience that way?
No. I would not. So Byron, but thank you, by the way, for making the comment, first off. And we've talked about this too, right? And so I'm glad Byron's asking the question again, because just because we answer it once doesn't mean that everybody gets the answer, right?
Right.
But to answer your question, Byron, I would actually do it differently. I would create a VIP Facebook group. And so what that means is, you're going to create a Facebook group, and you're going to take that same content that you're posting on your business page. Even if you want to keep building your business page, it's fine. But Facebook is no longer focusing on business pages. They're focusing on groups, because their whole pitch in 2020 was community, right? So you want to create a Facebook group based around the information you want to provide, and creating a community so that you can share the same information, right? So then not only do you have a more targeted group of people who actually see that content, you're going to have more people who are knowing who you are based on the fact that you're the one posting the content, right? And at the end of each of those, you leave your contact information, who you work with, and then you're going to actually get more clients that way than you ever will from your business page, unless you're running Facebook ads from your business page. That would be my answer to Byron.
I dig it. I second that. Full. As you mentioned it, you sold me. Again, I was going back and forth, but yeah, really the play there is Facebook groups. And Facebook has even, tipped its hand, if you will, by introducing the placement with the Facebook ads 6, maybe 9 months ago. Yeah. So having the ability to advertise on Facebook groups through Facebook ads. Now, right now, the limitation is you can't select which groups to advertise in, but that's coming. They're just waiting for everyone to build up all these groups and get the mega groups out there. And then boom, they're going to collect $1 billion a day. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's wild.
I'll drop another gray area statement.
Uh-oh. Our goal, Joseph, for 2021 was to keep our legal fund down. And I don't understand why you don't understand that. I don't get it. But let's do it.
The more money,
I'm about it.
The more money you make, the more fees you can cover. So that's how I'm looking at it. So there are ways, Byron, and anybody else who's watching this, there are tools out there that allow you to, especially if you own the Facebook group and you make the group public for just a little bit, to go in and and it says, do it, be brave. You go in to these Facebook groups, public ones, you make them public for a bit if you can, and then you let the tool go out and scrape the information in the group. And then you repurpose that into a lookalike audience. Close the group back to private so that you can only approve the people who you want in there. And guess what you can now do? You can now retarget everybody who's in that group. Now, you have created a secret audience that is going to see your face everywhere, right? And then you just run a video view ad for $1 a day targeting those people, right? Hey, want to thank you for being a part of my group. If you're not part of it, make sure you join. The link's down below. Those of you who are part of it, I'm so glad that you're able to get these list of homes that I'm sharing every day. And those of you who are looking to sell, I'm glad I'm able to send you a CMA. But again, you have to be a part of the private Facebook group to do that. And if you're in it, awesome. And if you want my help, make sure you click on the link to reach out to me. And now these people, that's all you have to say. And these people will see your face every single freaking day, no matter where they go, for $1 a day, right? And so it's just understanding some of these things that are available to you. Now, if you want to take it even a step further, and I feel like I share too much sometimes, Jaime, but if you have,
I'm not going to tell you no. That you do sometimes share too much, but it's to the benefit of the people. So that's why I just stay quiet.
Yeah. So if you have an assistant, like Jaime and I both have assistants, right? So if you have an assistant and you have one of these groups, anytime you share a blog or you create a blog or a YouTube video, then you have your assistant send all of them a message with the link to that particular piece of content. And so what that does is, one, it lets them know that you're looking out for them and saying, hey, because you're part of my group, my VIP group, we always share the content with you first. And then whenever they go watch it, well, guess what naturally happens? Because more people are watching your content very quickly, then you're going to get points from YouTube. You're going to get points from Google for having so many people visit your videos and your content so quickly, right? And so those are little like small tricks and tips from the trade that we do that can be utilized in real estate.
I dig it. Boom. That's why people listen in. So 5-star review is going to go a long way. I know I've brought that up like 4 different times, but really it is that important. Likes, I see a bunch of likes going, so really do love seeing that. If there's any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comment section. And I see a lot more viewers than likes right now, so let's work on that. but something else that I kind of wanted to even touch a little bit going back, but not really, with the blogs, the YouTube videos, and really a lot of the things that we're talking about. Are they going to work at face value? 1,000% they will. 1,000% they will. However, I always get the question of, well, how do I become more effective with this? How do I maximize what I do? So I want to really touch home with this one of the selecting the perfect neighborhood, which doesn't exist, but I'll give you a good strategy to do it. If you're looking for that neighborhood to write a blog about, to write that video about, that's going to have the more long-lasting impact for you, what you can do is write in your MLS, and that is identifying what your turnover rate is in those areas, in the areas that you want to work with, because you have that ability on your MLSs. You can go down to basically to the house level. So you can what's it called? Geofencing, Joseph? I think that's what it's called. So you can geofence the specific neighborhood and see if it's worth your money. Maybe people in there just live in that home and they die in that home and never sell. Maybe it's just, there's just not enough GCI there for you to ever get somebody to ever use you. Because at the end of the day, these blogs and videos are not necessarily meant to make you famous. People will be aware of you, but at the end of the day, if nobody's there to buy a house to get into that neighborhood or get out of that neighborhood by selling it, then you're wasting your time. Now you're going to be, you're going to get better at your craft. But at the end of the day, if you want a super ninja strategy that's going to maximize how you're doing and what you're doing, go to your MLS, figure out what your turnover rate is, and then boom, you have a long list of blogs that you can write, a long list of videos that you can make, and you're just maximizing your day in and day out.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. The data that's available to real estate agents, it's so ridiculous. Like the information that you can gather as a real estate agent, you're pretty much you get more data than anybody else does, right? Even some of the people who are their job is to have data. You have so much data on taxes, on people who own the home. Like you can find anything you want to find out about a home. I'll give this final tip, Jaime, in relation to blogging and videos, because I think it'll be helpful to those agents who take action and that are trying to farm a neighborhood. So the video will be available in this group later for you to watch.
And it'll be available on Apple Podcast, the Agent Lead Source Podcast. As soon as you get there, give us a 5-star review. But yes, it's going to be available later.
So for those of you who are agents that like to take action and like to get listings, we'll just say that's what this is going to lead to. If you're willing to put in the work and you're willing to you're wanting to farm a neighborhood and you want to do it effectively, and you have everybody's address who lives in that neighborhood, what you can do is you can go, and this is a lot of work, but it's going to make you a lot of money over time. You go and create a CMA for all the houses in that neighborhood, a video CMA talking about, how you're getting the valuation on the house and what you're doing on that particular house and why it's valued, why you think it's valued at what it's valued. You create the video, you go host a video on YouTube. You take the link, you go to free QR code maker, right? Just search that. And then you print a card with their house in the front of it, put the QR code on the back that says, hey, I created this free CMA telling you the value of your home. Just scan it with your phone. And then allow them to go to your YouTube channel and see the CMA that you created for them specifically. All right. And so it's a little bit of work, but you can use that and you can actually do a CMA for these people every month and send out the card every month, right? Or every 3 months if you don't want to, right? So literally you can print it on just a little bit thicker paper, print out the front of the house, and then put the code and the message on the back. And every month you have people to send a CMA to. Ladies and gentlemen, that's like, it's so easy. Like you would print it on, like, let's pretend this is a card. You print the front of the house, then you go to QR code maker, put the link in to whatever the YouTube channel video is going to be. Put the QR code with the message like, hey, I created this for your house. Just scan the code so you can see how much your house is worth. That's all you have to do. And then, of course, you have your information on it. And then you drop off the card, put it on their doorstep or in between the door and the frame. And now you have people that will, at least in that neighborhood, who know who you are, right?
Bam! What you think about that, guys? What you think about that? Isn't that dope? Now, here's there's not a pushback, Joseph, but here's where a lot of agents heard. So I need to calm down the masses. They heard a lot of work. And here's the thing. You're reaching the end consumer so crazy. So when they actually open it, holy crap, are they going to respect what you just did?
Yeah.
How impressed are they going to be? So from effectiveness, I'm not even talking about effectiveness. It's effective. So what I'm trying to do is quell the or just the emotions right now and temper those down by think about what's happening, right? Think about what you're doing with your CMAs. A lot of you heard like, oh, well, crap, I have to do all those CMAs. Well, guess what? If you're in that neighborhood, the home that you just did, guess what the neighbor's gonna be valued at? Probably the same. So you're not doing that, but you're not going into a community here and then going across town and trying to. No, you're talking about 200 homes. You're talking about 500 homes, whatever happens to be. You're talking about, let's just say 200 homes. And okay, so this one has 4 beds. Okay, now that I know that my 4 beds, those need to be $10,000 more, $50,000 more, whatever happens to be. And it's not all that complicated. And you're going to get so dialed in because you're doing this, boom, 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 boom. You're getting so dialed in because something like this is going to take you less. I would venture to guess less than 3 minutes, and I'm not exaggerating, for you to actually record that. The work is actually going to be after that. The actual practice of it, the performance aspect of it, it's not going to be hard at all because this is what you do. And then also since you're doing it 200 times, it's going to go that much quicker. So that is, I mean, again, from the effectiveness standpoint, I can't even say anything about that because it is going to be hell of impressive for the people that view that, to do that QR code. It's just crazy. It's absolutely great.
Yeah. So Elena just said, the problem is that 97% of homeowners are not going to sell. No, so that's where Jaime already addressed that, Elena. So if you think that 97% of the people in this neighborhood are not going to sell, pick a different neighborhood. It's that simple, right? You don't have to use that neighborhood. If 97% of people are not going to sell in that neighborhood and you don't think it's worth the time, there are, depending on where you live, there should be multiple neighborhoods that you can go farm, right? But she also stated, maybe combine your technique with Jaime's Remind high seller score system, which I think that's fantastic because you can put that on the card as well and in the video. So Lena, thank you for your comment. But again, don't give yourself objections, right? You're objecting yourself, right? Make sure that you're finding solutions to your objection that you're giving yourself, right? And that's what we were talking about earlier on the call. I don't know if you're on it. But then you also gave a solution for that particular thing, which is using Jaime's statement on, or one of Jaime's videos you can go watch on YouTube about using the Remind high seller score. And then you combine those, right? It'll help tremendously, right? To truly understand that process. And Jaime, I don't know if you want to go into details about that particular video you did.
That video, so Remind, just so everybody knows, it's a software that there's similar software out there that will share with you, based off of their algorithm, a home that's likely to sell. Now you can do that. It's going to cost you a little bit of money. I don't know what it's called. I don't know what it's priced at the moment, because it's per month. But that goes back to creating a little bit of friction. So I like how you articulated the response there of doing a little bit of pre-work ahead of time with your MLS. You don't have to go to that software. Do I like the software? Yes. Do I know the owner? Yes. All that fantastic stuff. So I'm going to have to get him to sponsor this podcast, because we just gave him a free plug, but I'm going to let that go. By the way, the owner, Leo Pareja, was the #1 Keller Williams agent in the world, just as a heads up. So that's a sharp software, but promo over. Going back to the MLS though, I mean, it's right there. It's right in front of you. So yes, you know kind of what the movement is, and you know people are selling. I mean, people are selling. It's just a factor of where are they, and is this going to be a turnover rate that's going to be much higher than this other one? And then I focus my efforts that way. Joseph, I could go on forever. I don't know if it's because of our little break. I don't know what happens, but I have a lot of energy, even though it's late here. But we can't do that.
Yeah.
So as we get ready for the dismount, folks, I want to encourage everybody to check out the podcast. If you're not already subscribed over there, then I highly encourage you to check us out. Give us a 5-star rating, and also share it with an agent that you think will benefit from this. That would be the best compliment that you can give us outside of the 5-star review, is sharing it with somebody else that you think could actually benefit from the strategies that we're talking about. Because if you're doing them, trust that somebody else could absolutely benefit from those. And if you're of the mindset of, well, then I'm creating my competition. Well, sorry to break it to you. There's 1.4 million licensed agents out there, so you already have plenty of competition. Your friend down the street, they could benefit from a win in 2021. So let's not be selfish and share this podcast everywhere. Joseph, for my parting thoughts, is just take action. Just take action. I know we've talked about that in the past, and that's been actually our dismount several times in the past. But really, that's the biggest difference between coming on here, learning something pretty cool, which I think today's was great, I would say. I mean, it's one of our best podcasts if we're ranking them. But the difference is going to be if you go out there and get out of your own skin and make that post. Get out of your own skin to just give the blog a crack. Get out of your skin to get a camera that works. I don't know why this one didn't, but get a camera that works and record yourself. Anyway, take action. I'm going to stop talking. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think that this podcast was fantastic because, and to answer Jessica's question, she said, are you guys seriously live right now? Because I guess you might think this is a recording. If you would have been here early, Jessica, you would have saw all the mistakes we're making as far as like this first podcast of the year.
Hey, but, that's a compliment.
Yeah. But to answer your question about, how I would like to end this, Jaime, I would say, yes, take action. But go back and listen to this. We're giving you ways to get buyers and sellers today, right? Not tomorrow or not later on, not next year, like today, right? And if you start today, well, tomorrow because it's nighttime, but if you want to make the post that we talked about earlier, if you make that tonight, you'll wake up to people to talk to tomorrow, right? You'll wake up to people who want to buy a house, and you'll wake up to people who want to sell a house. And so Haim is right. Take the action, let that happen. And as it does, you're going to have a good 2021, but you got to keep taking steps forward.
1,000%, 1,000%. Joseph, we're back in action. 2021 is our year. Super excited. The Agent Lead Source podcast is going to be the #1 podcast in the world. I wish. No, so that's a good goal, right? So that's our goal. That's our goal. That's right. I'm going to speak it into being. It's going to certainly be considerably further ahead by the end of 2021. We're going to work our hardest for that to happen. Everybody that's tuning in live, remember, we come on here on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Central. So we'd love to have you on the Facebook group. We'd love to have you on the YouTube channel. And if you're listening to us on the podcast, a 5-star review would go a long way. This has been episode 24, how to get free real estate leads in 2021. Catch you next week.
Later, guys.